Cam Rogers here of the Cam Rogers Show, breaking in with some big-time news. College football writer Brett McMurphy dropped a bombshell report this morning on Ohio State football coach Urban Meyer. The report suggests that Meyer lied last week when he told reporters he didn't know of the 2015 domestic violence allegations against former wide receiver coach Zach Smith. Now, Meyer recently addressed this issue during the Big Ten Media Day as well. We will have that clip to play for you guys. Now, McMurphy said he obtained text messages that prove Meyer lied about his knowledge of the 2015 allegations. He also says that Meyer's wife, Shelley, was in contact with Smith's wife, Courtney, via text message regarding the situation. But let's take a look at what Urban Meyer recently said at Big Ten Media Days. Here he is.
Are you saying that you don't know anything about that, or do you believe that that didn't happen?
I can't say it didn't happen because I wasn't there. I was never told about anything. Never anything came to light. I never had a conversation about it, so I know nothing about that.
So anything about that did not factor into your decision? Because
First I heard about that was last night.
And so you don't know anything about 2015? That wasn't a factor in your decision with Zach?
No, when I asked some people back at the office to call and say what happened, and they came back and said they know nothing about it.
Okay. With what you knew at the time and what you know now, do you believe that possibly it was a mistake to have Zach Smith around your players for 6 years, given where we are today?
If I did, I would have made a change, or I would not have done it. So obviously I made a decision that we were going to move forward with him on our staff.
And I understand, I know you don't want to talk about this all day.
This is redundant.
All right, so there is Urban Meyer there talking about the Zach Smith situation. And Courtney Smith said a really interesting statement in the series of texts, quote, "All of the coaches' wives knew of these allegations. They all did. Every single one." What you see on your screen right now, Courtney Smith and Shelley Meyer engaging in a dialogue that goes pretty long. Now, Shelley obviously, according to these texts, knew of the allegations. Urban Meyer just recently at Big Ten Media Days said he did not know and that he was moving forward. Now, another point of emphasis with these text messages. A woman named Lindsay, who is the wife of Brian Bodolini, considered one of Meyer's most loyal staff members. Here's a dialogue between Lindsay and Courtney Smith. Courtney, quote, "Zach's trying to make me look crazy because that's what Shelley is saying he's doing." Lindsay says, "Urban just said Zach denied everything." Courtney responds, "I hope Urban is smarter than that." Lindsay, "Urban doesn't know what to think." Courtney, "I don't really care." Wow. All right, so Smith was fired by Ohio State last week after 2009 allegations of domestic violence came to light. Now, Courtney also filed a protection order against him last Friday. Now, McMurphy also released pictures of Courtney Smith's injuries from the alleged incidents. We have those screenshots as well. It begs the major question here on the program: should Ohio State fire Urban Meyer? Type Y for yes, type N for no in comments. I want to hear from you guys. I want your opinions on this big-time report that came out this morning. Now, Zach Smith was fired after he was charged also with criminal trespassing in relation to dropping his kids off at his ex-wife's home against her wishes, all part of the protection order. Meyer said the decision to fire Smith was, quote, "a tough call," but added, "it was in the best interest of our team." And the head coach had no interest in elaborating further. A decision of who will replace Smith will be made later this week, according to Urban Meyer. But you see the images there. I don't think you need any commentary. They're not good. They're not pretty. And they do not reflect well on Ohio State football as we stand. And so one more time, we're going to ask you, should Ohio State fire Urban Meyer? Urban Meyer, quite clear, was in the know of this situation with Zach Smith and his ex-wife. And so for Ohio State and the football coaches of the past, they've been ushered out for perhaps lesser infractions, notably Woody Hayes for punching a Clemson player, albeit not good after the Gator Bowl. Certainly, I guess you could say, not domestic violence and not repeated offenses. Jim Tressel resigned technically, but he was forced out in theory due to ignoring Tattoo Gate, as you all recall, involving Terrell Pryor. He resigned back in 2011. Now, other coaches involved in these scandals that essentially lost their jobs because of it are Briles with Baylor back in 2016, sexual assault and rape involving that school. Then you have Penn State, of course, with Joe Paterno and the molestation charges involved there. Jim Tressel, as I mentioned, back in 2011. George O'Leary with Notre Dame lying on his resume. So some past examples there. We talked about some Ohio State-centric examples as well. Let's take you through exactly how this all trickled down. June of 2009, Zach Smith accused of domestic violence. That same month, that same year, charges dropped against Smith. Then a lull period. October 2015, Smith again accused of domestic violence. Courtney Smith engages in a dialogue during that year with Urban Meyer's wife via the text messages that you saw on your screen. Meyer reportedly discusses the case with Zach Smith. And remember, we played the video of Meyer saying he had no idea. July of 2018, accusations against Smith are reported. And of course, Zach Smith recently being fired by Ohio State just in July. And then you have Big Ten Media Day. Meyer denies knowledge of accusations against Smith from 2015. And now you have today, August 1st, 2018. Urban Meyer accused of lying about knowing these domestic violence accusations against Zach Smith, the former wide receivers coach for Ohio State football. In terms of season prognostications for Ohio State, supposed to be a great year. I've got them as number 4 in my top 25 for college football this year. And now you have this cloud carrying over them. Doesn't reflect well when you're Dwayne Haskins, J.K. Dobbins, Nick Bosa, who perhaps could be the number 1 overall draft pick in 2019. Urban Meyer is going to have to fend this off from a PR perspective. Or he could just be fired. Let us know what you think about Urban Meyer. Type Y for yes, he should be fired. Type N for no. And let's not forget, Tennessee's fan base revolted against the potential hiring of Ohio State defensive coordinator Greg Schiano this past offseason. You all remember the whole Tennessee situation there with Fulmer and the just poor chemistry that was going on between the AD and everything that was happening in terms of the Tennessee head coach search. So in terms of Ohio State, yeah, not a good situation there. And so could you have a whole John Curry type of situation in terms of going up the ladder? Maybe it wasn't just Urban Meyer who knew. Maybe there was more. More details could come to light. Cam Rogers here for Chat Sports, reporting on the developing story surrounding Urban Meyer. We'll have more, of course, on chatsports.com. Hit me up on Twitter at Mr. Rogers99.